field today, folks, is already down from 27 drivers to 26, and that is because Santino Ferrucci has been ruled out of this race.
Massive impact in the morning warm-up. As the session was coming to a close, he was literally in the final corner. All four corners of his AJ Foyt Chevy destroyed. The team not having enough time or parts to get the backup car prepared in time.
We are racing, and Colton Herta immediately with the advantage. Kirkwood trying to make some moves around the outside of Will Power, bunching up down there through turn one. Everyone through safely. Are they? Little nudge on the wall from Felix Rosenquist, but pretty much everybody through there unscathed, and that's key on lap one on the run down now to turn three. And look at Marcus Armstrong coming from the pole sitter, coming for Colton Herta, but can't quite. Have a look, and Kirkwood is already up and fighting against Alex Palou. Does he get it? He does. That's up to third place for Kyle Kirkwood. And a driver in already, and it's Pato O'Ward. So too Scott McLaughlin. So too Marcus Ericsson jumping in at the earliest possible opportunity. 2 laps completed. Get rid of those softs and get racing.
And we see a full course caution.
McLaughlin.
There it is.
And McLaughlin is into the wall, and his rear left has gone.
I'll bet this wheel was never on, and there you see the wheel nut coming off the left rear.
Scott Dixon lining up his teammate Kiffin Simpson, who is on that soft tire, which we expected to start degrading around lap 7 or 8, and flies past 1. Will he fly past 2? Going for the move on David Malukas as well.
Lucas closed the door. So smart for Scott Dixon to back out of that, not force it early. That's exactly what we talked about as Alexander Rossi trying to force his way through in that Java House yellow and blue car. But guys, I'm watching the pace of Rita's VK. It is dropping fast. Malukas has gotten ahead, so VK's on that soft tire, and he's out of tire at this point. He is in panic mode and going to stay out.
That's 3 wide into 1.
And that's Rasmussen on Islet and Abel, and Rasmussen does 2 in 1 corner. The action coming thick and fast here in Toronto. Here comes Kyle Kirkwood. It's 3 wide down into 1 around the slower car of Simpson. A little bump, a little hip check. Stingray Rob has a look as Rahal goes around the outside of Rob. This is wonderful.
Oh, so narrow through there, the canyon that's turned 3, 4, and 5. Rahal just makes it through.
Boom!
There goes Christian Rasmussen.
His luck has finally run out. Spins it around on a flat rear right. We'll try to get that back to the pitch. Oh, we've got a flat right rear, Rossi.
I think that's more than a flat. I think that's contact.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone into the wall, given the bodywork damage flailing around. The car has looked difficult to drive all weekend. Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
And you know what? He was up to just lightly brushing the wall, but it looked like a part of the wall was maybe jutting out.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
that's the
right
problem.
there.
When you have concrete to concrete, in this case, it's like a little bit of a deli slicer. That front leading edge is sticking out and just ripped the right rear off.
We're back to green and immediately back to full course caution here at Toronto as Jacob Abel, who was being passed by David Malukas and Louis Foster, went straight on into the barrier and up and over the rear of Joseph Newgarden. As VK squirrels around and gets us going back to green, followed by Simpson, followed by Connor Daly, and followed by Will Power. And look at Pato O'Ward putting his gas down and trying to get up on the inside, puts the move on Power straight away at 1, and Pato O'Ward is through.
And that's going to give Power a bad exit out of 1, might leave him susceptible to Schwartzman. Remember, no push to pass available on the first lap of a start or restart.
Power's going with Pato though. Power trying to take the position back as Daly has a look up the inside of Kiffin Simpson, going too wide, and we sit now with the 12, and that is Pato O'Ward, and now Power's in the wall.
Something happened to Foster. His left rear is damaged. Foster got into the wall. Dixon was able to get by. Pato O'Ward head down again. 2 cars separate him between where he is and the lead.
Back in turn 1, back in his favorite spot, and another position gain. Pato O'Ward is on pit lane. Georgia
The team asked if Pato liked the changes they made the last pit stop. He said yes, he does. The car feels good. They put those hard tires on, fill it up with Shell fuel. He had to get around Rahal coming in, but he has a clean out.
Clean out for him, but where does it bring him out in relation to Rinus VK? Look to your left, look to your right. Pato Award on pit exit. Where is Rinus VK? Simpson's pitted as well.
Wow.
VK to the left, and it's huge from Award. Easily takes the lead over Rinus VK. At the back of the screen, you can see him there. The 60 of Rosenquist behind him. The 4 of David Malukas. Yeah, that's right. The driver who was third has now fallen down the field because he came in for his final pit stop. Here he is, the full crew going to work down there on pit lane. Oh no! And that's the rear right, wasn't fully attached.
The outside rear tire changer had a difficult time placing the wheel and tire initially, and somehow Malukas given the signal to go, and then this happened to Felix Rosenquist.
Big lockup going down there into turn 3. Seemingly has lost a part of his front wing, which has been falling apart for a while. When he makes it back onto the track, squeezes Alex Palou through 4, who then makes it through at 5, and then the two make contact again, Will Power and Felix Rosenquist, and it was those two who made contact that did the damage to his front wing in the first place.
No!
Yellow.
Oh, and
Siegel
we have
and Rosenquist. Yeah, lost the rear, started going wide, got on the brakes. Really nothing for Siegel to do. He was just trying to hunt him down, set up a pass into turn 1.
victory for Pato Award on the streets of Toronto.
What a boys, what a great strategy. Great job in the pits. That's how you recover.
Up next, it's the IndyCar Grand Prix of Monterey, Sunday, July 27th at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
With that, good evening and welcome back to another episode of the Push to Pass podcast. I am Derik Vance, and I will bring in one of our co-hosts in just a few seconds. I'll explain why there is just one this evening, but a lot to analyze, discuss, and go over it pertaining to the Ontario Honda dealers, Indy Toronto, which I'm not a really huge fan of that name. They got to do something with that name to fix it, because it just doesn't come off the tongue as easy as it should. But a lot to get into. Like I said, like I mentioned, we'll get into my 5 takeaways. Obviously, we'll play some interviews, go over the results if you have not seen those yet, point standings as we normally do, and then our race picks from this past weekend as well. No guest this evening, so we will also preview what's going to take place this weekend at Laguna Seca. For all of you old school IndyCar fans, it is the Java House Grand Prix of Monterey at Laguna Seca. We'll go over that, give you a preview of that, and then Mike will be in this evening to preview his bets, and then we'll take a first look at the weather that's going to take place this weekend in Laguna Seca. Of course, the IndyCar Weatherman here on the Push to Pass podcast will join us to take a look at that. But before we get into all of that, let me bring in the other co-host of the Push to Pass podcast. It is Josh. I know we got word a couple hours ago that Michael is feeling ill, so we wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully he'll be able to join us next week. But it is just it's old times, Josh. It's just me and you this evening. And how's everything over there in your neck of the woods? Josh, I don't know if it's me, but I have no sound on your end. So I don't know if you want to try to check your equipment there and try to come back in. But yeah, I have no sound from you. I do see that you're muted, so maybe if you try unmuting to see what happened. Josh, are you there? I still don't have anything from you. So if you do have to step away there for a minute and come back and get your equipment there all squared away and get the gremlins out of there. But like I said, We will talk a lot this evening of recapping Toronto this weekend. Pato Award makes it 2 wins in the last 3 races. So some good fortune coming to Arrow McLaren. I know we've talked about them a lot this year. Their lack of winning, well, they've kind of stepped up their game. They've leveled up there a little bit lately. So in obviously 2, with Pato winning the last 2 out of 3 races, he has cut into Alex Palou's points lead. It is now down to 99 points. It is under 100, and it's been a while since Alex Palou's points lead has been down under 100. So can't wait to get Josh back in here after he gets his technical side figured out, and we'll dive in to what we witnessed and seen this past weekend in Toronto. Also, too, I do want to thank everyone over on the multitude of platforms that we are now broadcasting on, from Facebook to YouTube to X. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and hopefully you're gaining something out of this. I know we're getting a lot of users, or a lot of viewers, week in and week out. So definitely love everyone that steps in there. Josh, are you finally here with us? Oh, I thought I heard you. Yep, I still don't have anything. Maybe it's, I don't know if it's my end. Josh, are you able to hear me? Let's do that first. Yeah, I have no audio from Josh right now. Yeah, so I don't know if it's something within his computer or not. So while he tries to figure that out, let me get into the 5 takeaways, as they say. The show must go on, so they say. So while Josh continues to work his technical side of what's going on there, let me get into my 5 takeaways from Toronto this evening, or not this evening, but from the weekend. Hopefully Josh is able to figure out whatever's going on over there on his end. And you know what? Let me try something. Maybe I turned the sound down too far. Maybe he's been there after all. Josh, are you there with us? Nope, I still don't have anything. So we'll see. We'll let him figure his stuff out over there. And in the meantime, let's dig into the Toronto. Well, I guess you can. They called it the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy Toronto. Yeah, say that 5 times fast. But obviously, like we opened up, huge congratulations obviously goes out to Pato Award in the whole number 5 Arrow McLaren Chevrolet crew for collecting their 2nd win of the season at Sunday's Ontario Honda Dealers Indy Toronto on the streets of Toronto. If you didn't know that, but I'm probably pretty sure you did. The win is Award's 9th career victory, and it pulls him within 99 points of current points leader and 3-time champion Alex Palou, with just 4 rounds left to go in the 2025 NTT INDYCAR Series. All right, takeaway number 5 from this past weekend, and this seems like an ongoing problem this year for this particular team and 2 particular drivers in particular. First, let's see if I can, there we go, right there. More problems for Team Penske. Another week, and like I mentioned, more problems at Team Penske. You have Scott McLaughlin in the number 3 Gallagher Chevrolet. His race barely got off the ground as he was wrecked in lap 3, and that forced him to retire. And then Joseph Newgarden, who has had a string of bad luck, and it's well documented on here, the bad luck that Newgarden has had. He didn't fare much better either. Newgarden in the number 2 PPG Chevrolet was only able to complete 36 laps before getting involved in a crash, which obviously, if you were watching the race, was no fault of his own for sure. All three Penske drivers are basically completely out of the points championship picture. So, one has to believe that this was no way the captain seen this season, unfolding. And with just 4 races left in the season, it's obviously going to be interesting when we hit silly season. Watching what takes place over there in the Team Penske camp, especially with driver contracts expiring, Will Power, and as much shuffling as we have seen with Team Penske throughout the year, and that dark cloud that seems like has been, hovering over them of controversy. Now it was St. Petersburg last year. Obviously, it was Indianapolis this year. Changes were made, things were shuffled around, but definitely Team Penske is going to be one to watch in the silly season up and coming. All right, 4th takeaway from this past weekend's race. It has to do with this guy, believe it or not. Usually we see this guy towards the number 2, the second takeaway or the first takeaway, but not this time. As I mentioned in the open there, Alex Palou's points lead actually shrunk, believe it or not. It seems like for the most part of the season, maybe throughout the whole season, Alex Palou in the number 10 DHL Honda has obviously been on cruise control towards his 3rd straight Astro Cup. But lately, it looks like Pato O'Ward is going to have something to say about it, and he's not going to make it easy for Palou whatsoever. Coming out of the Ontario Honda dealers, Indy, Toronto, like I mentioned in the open, this is the first time in the last few months that Palou's points lead is now under 100 at 99 points. Obviously, the takeaway and the question that I have here, and hopefully that Josh is able to get back. And I'd love to hear his response to this. Hopefully, we're going to try this for the second time. Let's see if he was able to get the gremlins out of his system. Josh, are you all ready for us now? I have absolutely nothing on my end, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on with your audio this evening, but I have absolutely nothing. So I'm not sure how we're going to play this, but as we will, again, talking about Palou, and hopefully, like I said, Josh is able to figure out what's going on with his computer and join us. But I think the question has to be going forward. It was well documented that Pato O'Ward didn't have the best luck at Toronto, but he swung on a pit strategy and obviously hit a home run as he was able to win the race. But can Pato O'Ward continue to put the pressure on Palou, or as we've come to understand with Palou, just cool, calm, and collective? Is he going to be able to keep everything on the calm, cool, and collective and wrap up the points championship potentially this week at Laguna Seca? Obviously, that's something we're going to be looking at this weekend. All right, takeaway number 3 is it seemed like these were the favorites going into Toronto this weekend. Obviously, Andretti had a pass in Toronto, a successful pass to say the least. But as we see Josh coming back in again, hopefully he is able to get everything worked out. Josh, are you there with us?
Can you hear me now?
Hey, there we go. Finally got Josh back. Well, let's revert, or let's here a little bit on the old cassette tapes here. Let's rewind a little bit. I've already went through first 2 takeaways, so I want to get your reaction from these, as we do on a weekly basis. First one was the problems at Penske, particularly with Scott McLaughlin, and then I know we've well documented it. Problems in the terrible seats that Joseph Newgarden has had, and obviously that compounds with his wreck on Sunday, which again was no fault of his own. Curious, Josh, to get your thoughts on just the the more problems. Like, I get in there a song, more money, more problems over there at Team Penske.
Oh yeah, I want to say sorry. I don't know what's going on with my computer right now, but we're gonna try to get it fixed. But Penske and Scott McLaughlin. I mean, as much as we talk about Newgarden having problems, I don't know if anyone's had any more problems this year than Scott McLaughlin. I mean, his tire not being attached correctly, you know, going all the way back to May and that disaster before the race even started in the 500. I mean, he's got to be wondering who's got a voodoo doll out there just putting a hex on him, and I don't know what's going on with him. As for the other part of Penske, I guarantee you they're not checked out exactly, but they are all looking forward to next season, because they've got to think that this string of terrible what would you call it? Of terrible luck has got to be changing. It can't keep going on the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that I'm interested in, Josh, and I mentioned this in the takeaway, is what is the silly season or off season of the NTT INDYCAR series going to look like at Team Penske? You know, obviously throughout the year we've had, you know, turnover, we've had crews shuffled, we've had members of Team Penske get fired, get picked up by other teams, and not to mention on top of that, you have an expiring contract of Will Power, who's trying to, you know, put together a season potentially for another team next year. So I think the eyes of the sport are obviously going to be on how Team Penske rebounds and bounces back from, I think, a well-documented, dismal 2025 season.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the biggest question, as we've said, is going to be Scott Dixon. Is he going to come back? That's what I meant. Will Power. I get the two older ones mixed up. I apologize. Will Power. Is he going to be back next season? Is he going to, you know, could he sign maybe a 2-year deal and you know, go out, because I can't imagine he's going to want this to be his last season. Him not being as successful as he wants. Other than that, I mean, I have no doubt that they'll bring back that Newgarden and McLaughlin will still be there. But like we said, the biggest question is Will Power, and I have a sneaking suspicion that Penske isn't going to give up on him just yet, even though he is getting up there in years. But I think he'll be back, and I think they may not run it back with the exact crews that they have right now. They may make some changes, especially in the pit crews with you know, McLaughlin's car. There's no excuse to not get that wheel nut on there correctly. So that could be one of the big changes, and I'm sure Roger himself is going to sit down and take an assessment of what he can do to help fix his team.
Yeah, obviously, you know, he has the nickname the Captain, not Derek Jeter. I know. Don't get too excited, Josh. But yeah, you know, Roger's obviously going to look at everything as a whole, you know, and you know, they kind of modeled themselves on Penske Perfect, and I think this year, obviously, they've drifted really far away from that mantra. All right, my fourth takeaway from Sunday, and I know this has to surprise you a little bit, but Pato O'Ward now has been able to cut into Alex Palou's lead. This is the first time in quite a long time that the points lead is under 100 points. I know it's at 99, but you know, Pato O'Ward is trying to climb this massive mountain that Alex Palou has built for himself. You know, it's a steep climb, and you know, Zach Brown on Sunday before the race was well documented in saying, you know, it's going to take a miracle. But you know, when I think about miracles and I think about sports, what was it, the 1982 United States hockey team who didn't have a snowball's chance in hell against the Russians, and they climbed that mountain. So Pato O'Ward obviously is not going to make this easy, but is he going to continue to put pressure on Alex Palou, or are we going to see the cool, calm, and collective Alex Palou that we've seen before, and potentially has the opportunity to wrap up the points championship this week in Laguna Seca?
I mean, Pato coming off and winning this past weekend, 2 wins in a row. That's a great thing for him. And yes, he is putting a modicum amount of pressure on Palou. But I don't think that this later run, run by Palou is going to do anything to detour what Palou is doing. He's on a massive hot streak. He's won more races this year than we've seen won by one driver in quite some time now. But I mean, I give all the kudos to Pato. He's taking advantage of some missteps sometimes by Palou and getting up there. And I mean, we thought going into these last couple of races that we weren't going to have that big of a storyline about who's going to take home the Astro Cup, but he's sure making it a tiny bit closer. I still don't think he's going to catch Palou, but Palou. But we can see we only have 4 races left that I can think of. Could be a dash to the finish.
Making things interesting, and the TV numbers kind of show that, as well as the teaser there towards the end. I don't know if you guys caught TV numbers come out today, and you know how much we like to harp on those. All right, catching back up now where I left off at, Josh. My third takeaway, I thought going into Toronto that the Andretti cars, all 3 of them, were going to be favorites, but it seems like they faded a little bit, I thought, on Sunday. Like I mentioned, heading into the weekend, the talk around the paddock was how strong the Andretti cars were going to be during the weekend. All 3 of the Andretti entries did find themselves starting in the top 10. You had Colton Herta, obviously, in the number 26 Gainbridge Honda, who sat on pole. Kyle Kirkwood, the other winner outside of Alex Palou and Scott Dixon and Pato O'Ward, in the number 27 Silver Gold Bull Honda, started 6th. And then Marcus Ericsson, who stayed up front as best he could on Sunday. In the number 28, Delaware Life Honda rolled off 8th, but obviously the race told us a totally different story. I do give Andretti flowers, obviously, with all 3 of their cars had strong finishes in the top 10, but I just don't think that they finished where they expected to. Herta set on the pole. He finished 4th, Ericsson 5th, and Kirkwood 6th. And then credit Herta for leading 6 laps and Ericsson leading a lap respectively. But, obviously strong finish, 4, 5, and 6. But with Andretti being huge favorites in Toronto, they were strong all weekend. I think that has to be a little bit obviously you finished 4, 5, and 6. I give you credit, but I think they were looking for a whole lot more.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they're always great at this track, and I mean, going 4, 5, 6, and right there, that's some good flowers we can give them. But I know Colton Herta wants to win races, and him having that pole, he probably thought he was going to be able to, jump out there and take that race with as well as he was driving this weekend, but. There was just something missing from them. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just their pit strategy was off, or they just couldn't seem to catch up and keep up with some of the drivers. But I mean, like we said, credit them 4, 5, and 6. I mean, putting two in the top 5 and all 3 of the cars in the top 10. Not too many. Not too many teams can say they've done that a lot lately. But kudos to them, and we'll see how they go. You know, Colton Herta, he seems to be bubbling there on the surface, that he's just waiting like a geyser at Yosemite just to blow up, and sooner or later he's going to do that. I have no doubt about it. In Kirkwood, he's always good for a good battle up there.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, the Andretti cars were strong, to say the least, but I don't think they were strong enough to, obviously Ericsson and Herta did lead some laps, but when it came down to it, they just didn't have, like you said, there was something of a miss in that camp this weekend, and not coming home with a podium finish has to be disappointing for Andretti Global. All right, my second to last takeaway, and I was hoping that Michael was going to be able to join us, and he was feeling ill, so he's not going to make it, because he has been speaking so highly of this individual, and then look at the run he goes out and takes in on Sunday. And yes, I'm speaking another strong finish for Rinus VeeKay. Michael has been a proponent this year on the season that Rinus VeeKay has done. I know he's got to be giddy with excitement. He's been talking this guy up, how good a driver he is. And obviously Rinus was able to finally showcase that on Sunday. What a sixth season that Rinus VeeKay is having. Obviously his first season at Dale Coyne Racing. And I have to, we'll give a little bit of flowers to Dale Coyne. I know we harped on them a lot last year if you tuned in and watched the show, because it seemed like the doors at Dale Coyne Racing were revolving every week, because you had a different driver in each car every week, it seemed like. Or the running joke here as well was Dale was just throwing, putting drivers' headshots on a dartboard, and the two that he landed on for that week were going to be his two drivers, it felt like. But he has found something in Rinus VeeKay. Now the question is he going to be able to keep him? And I'll get into that here momentarily. But Rinus, 11th in points. He's got 2 top 5s this year, along with 7 top 10s. And like I mentioned, VeeKay was able to bring home a second place finish on Sunday while also leading 16 laps. So a pretty exciting race there for him. But Rinus in the number 18 Ascaro Honda does have, Josh, a lot of momentum behind him as the season is winding down. And he's had to tune out, I believe, a lot of talk about potentially stepping up or leveling up, so to say, into a bigger full-time ride in 2026.
Definitely. Can you hear me? Okay. I've gotten my I got my I got my headphones to work finally. I figured out what it was. Rinus VeeKay, what a heck of a season, and putting Dale Coyne on the map this year, and he will be a hard one to keep. I truly hope that maybe he can stay at Dale Coyne, and Dale Coyne can make him a centerpiece, and they can build a team around him. And go out and you finish second in a car like that. I mean, that's fantastic. I'm excited for him, and I think next year, this offseason, like we keep saying, is going to be really interesting with the silly season of who's moving around, who's going where, who's getting another contract, who's not going to have a ride next year. So here's to Rinus VeeKay, and congratulations on his second place finish. And I feel like he may have a first in him sometime coming up soon.
Yeah, he's going to be like that, MLB player that's in a contract year, and he hits for 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, and he cashes in, because I think there's going to be a team out there that, no pun intended, is going to pull the trigger, and it's going to be a huge payday for Rinus VeeKay, especially if he keeps up his performance in these last 4 races of the season. All right, last takeaway, and obviously everyone, if you've watched the show before, you know exactly what my last takeaway is. It's normally the race winner, and again, no different here. 2 wins out of last 3 races for O'Ward. Outside of what Alex Palou and the dominating season that he has put together this year, Pato O'Ward might be the driver who has the second most momentum. And I know that's saying a lot, coming from where Arrow McLaren has come from in the beginning of the year, and you can see now a little bit with the molding that Tony Kanaan is doing. They're starting to get a little success. They're starting to get a little momentum behind them, and I think a lot of that has to do with TK putting his fingerprints on Arrow McLaren. But I think that Pato O'Ward, again, like I said, has the second most momentum heading into Laguna Seca, and as I mentioned earlier, he is in no way ready to concede that NTT IndyCar Series championship just yet. For the second weekend in a row, O'Ward was able to drive his car to victory lane for his 9th career victory. And as I mentioned, I've kind of hit this point home. 2 wins out of the last 3 races for O'Ward, and he's been able to shave, again, Alex Palou's points lead to under 100 with just 4 races left in the season. Again, Josh, I know that this is a tall ask for Pato O'Ward, but obviously he is more than willing and ready up for the challenge.
Oh yeah. The young Mexican is not going to concede anything to Alex Palou. He is going to push him to the brink until that last lap of Nashville happens. It may be out far out in his sights, but he has that Astro Cup in his sights, and not many people can say they've had that in their sights this year, other than Alex Palou. Pato, like my moniker today says, just call me the money man, because as I told you last week, I said Pato 1,000. He was 10-1 to win this race, and everyone laughed at me. Michael said, "Oh, you can't do that." Well, I went out on a limb and I put $100 down on him, and thank God I did, because I walked home with $1,100. So I can't wait to crow about that to Mike when he comes on later. But the young Mexican driver from Mexico is being down there at over there in California. He'll have a lot of fans in the stands, I would imagine, waving those Mexican national flags and having a good old time. So congratulations to Pato O'Ward. Keep up the good work, young man. Maybe your teammates will come along and start helping you a little bit more.
Yeah, what a bet that you hit on there. You did talk about that, so credit goes to you. And I know exactly. Well, in our text group, as soon as he crossed the finish line with that pace car, you were texting out, "See, guys, I told you should have betted on Pato." And obviously, you took Mike's advice, and you got a couple shillings or shekels. There we go, shekels in your pocket there, to say the least. So, all right, looking at the results here, if you have not seen them yet, we'll go through them here momentarily. Obviously, as we talked about, the podium was Pato O'Ward, Rinus VeeKay, and the Kiff dog, Kiffin Simpson, finished 3rd, and they were followed by Colton Herta, Marcus Ericsson, Kyle Kirkwood, Graham Rahal with a huge finish there, finishing 7th. Kudos to Callum Ilott, his best finish of the season, I do believe, in 8th. David Malukas and the Iceman, Scott Dixon, rounded out the top 10. Then this is where you find the first Penske car, Will Power, who was 11, followed by the championship points leader, Alex Palou, Christian Lundgaard, Marcus Armstrong, Connor Daly, the top finishing rookie, Robert Schwartzman, in 16th, Stingray Robb, Nolan Siegel, Felix Rosenquist, and Christian Rasmussen rounded out the top 20. And then it was Louis Foster, Devlin DeFrancesca, Jacob Abel, Joseph Newgarden, Alexander Rossi, Scott McLaughlin, and Santino Ferrucci, who did not start due to a earlier crash in practice, finished 27th. All right, taking a look at the up-to-date point standings, and again, I know they're very hard to read, but I'm working my tail off to try to find a site that makes accessible and readable, and sometimes it's just things are hard to find. So we'll see if we can work on something else, maybe in the off season, or maybe put a program together itself. We don't know. But taking a look at the points, you got obviously leader Alex Palou with 536 points. Then he is followed by Pato O'Ward, Kyle Kirkwood, Scott Dixon, Christian Lundgaard, Felix Rosenquist, Marcus Armstrong, Colton Herta, Will Power, and David Malukas round out the top 10. Then it is Renus VK, Santino Ferrucci, Scott McLaughlin, Kiffin Simpson, Christian Rasmussen, Joseph Newgarden, Connor Daly, Alexander Rossi, Marcus Erickson, and Graham Rahal round out the top 20. Then the last is Nolan Siegel, followed by Robert Schwartzman, Louis Foster, Callum Ilott, Stingray Robb, Devlin DeFrancesca, and Jacob Abel make up the full-time 27 driver field. Josh, before we get to our picks, is there anything that you've seen this past Sunday that I did not put in my takeaways, or anything else you want to comment on?
Well, we usually talk about this guy in a glowing light, but I feel like this past weekend just couldn't seem to figure out anything go right for him. And I know we're not going to throw a pity party for him, but Alex Palou finishing outside the top 10 this weekend really stuck out to me. I don't know if it's just he had an off weekend and it wasn't his best effort. But I mean, coming home 12th to me was just strange. Other than that, the race was a really good race. Sometime I'd like to make it up to Toronto. You know, I've got my passport, and I'd like to make it up there and check it out. There's lots of other things we can do that can be done there. The Hockey Hall of Fame and other things. But that race looks crazy to me. Just the amount of crashes, the amount of people, losing half their wings or having to slide off into areas that were designated for slide offs was crazy. And also thoughts go out to Santino Ferrucci this past weekend. On the day of the race, and you crash your car, and you're just don't have enough time nor parts to be able to repair it. That had to have been a big downer for his weekend. I hope he comes back this next Sunday and can propel. But I know that had to have been really down weekend for him for that to happen on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. I share the same sentiments there that you just mentioned, Josh. That's got to absolutely suck. You put in all that time, not only in the simulator, but during practice, qualifying, and then the day of in the warm-up, you just lose the back end of your car. You destroy your car. I know he walked away with some minor injuries on his hand too, but the worst part about it is, like you mentioned, not being able to reap the benefits of all that hard work that he put in over the weekend. All right, before we get to our race picks, let's hear from some drivers that had some comments after the race on Sunday.
Alex Palou led the most laps in control of the race, but did not get the finish. How do you take away from a day like this? You did nothing wrong.
Well, I chose a strategy, so there's what we did wrong today. I was pushing for that strategy. I thought it was I thought it was going to give us the best option to win. The car was really fast. I wanted to be up front, trying to avoid being there, trapped in traffic. But honestly, it happens. We knew it was going to be a risky strategy compared to starting on alternates. It was kind of working. We were able to open a big gap after that first yellow, but it was not enough today. So, not our day. Happy that Kiffin got his first podium, so that's going to be good for him, good for the team, and ready for next week.
Yeah, the lead in the championship still almost 100 for Alex Palou, heading to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca.
Simpson, it is your first podium in the IndyCar Series. You were also the biggest mover. I'm going to give that to you. 13th to 3rd today. What are the emotions?
Incredible. I mean, just first of all the glory to God. It was a crazy race and so many ups and downs. At one point we thought we were in the worst position, and then very quickly it turned to one of the best positions. So, just all the glory to God. Huge thank you to Journey and Chip Ganassi Racing and Honda. Did an incredible job today on pit lane, all the guys, and just incredible.
How much time and effort has gone into making a result like this happen?
So much. I mean, at Mid-Ohio, I was really bummed because that realistically we could have even won that race. So to not even be on the podium, I was super bummed there. But to come back here and get it done is incredible. So, and at Journey's home race as well is super cool.
Kevin Simpson on the podium here in Canada.
Rinus VK, second place today. Man, you've been such a star this year, and I know the off-season didn't go how you wanted, but what a result today.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good day. It was a really good day. We've been moving all season, but we've been coming from the back. We qualified well with 9th this race, and I knew we could move forward. And I mean, these guys in strategy, they know what they're doing. And I mean, the Honda fuel mileage makes it so much easier to hit that 2-stop. And we did an awesome job. So it was a pleasure driving this car. And I feel like this is one of many podiums coming with this team.
Congratulations, man. No doubt one of the stars of the series.
And Zach Brown was here to see his Aero McLaren IndyCar team win. Pato Award, this has not been one of your most successful tracks. Did you see this one coming today?
Oh, man. I can't say I saw this one coming today, but I was feeling so good on the prime tire all weekend, really. We were just struggling a bit to just get the alternate to work in qualifying, and sadly that's the one you need to transfer. But I knew I had a great car under me to race with, and the guys nailed it on the strategy. Thank you to Team Chevy and all the guys and gals at our McLaren. This number 5 was definitely one that we knew that we had. We just keep making our Sundays a little bit difficult, but before warm-up today, there was a bird that dropped a load on the car, and one of my guys, my front, outside front actually, and I said, that's a living myth. That's going to be a good day today. and it was. So no, I'm stoked for everybody, and just I would never expect to have gotten this much better in Toronto, because it's been the most challenging track and circuit for us in the past.
Congratulations. Did it for the boss. Tony Kanaan is here as well. Aero McLaren has won in Canada.
First off, I want to thank all the drivers that gave the TV some time for interviews, and we can use them on here. But secondly, Josh, have you ever heard a driver talk about their car getting shat, as I should say, on, and using it as good luck as Pato did there on Sunday?
No, honestly, I've never heard that comment from any driver ever, and that's a bit strange. But if that's what he attributes the win to, then hey, whatever floats his boat.
Yeah, absolutely. So interesting comments there from the race winner on Sunday. Speaking of winners, let's take a look at our year-long race picks, and obviously we're getting down to the nitty-gritty there. I know we did send them out on Sunday, not only on Facebook but X and Twitter, and I hit it right. I went with Colton Hurd. I went with the pole sitter. I know, really going out on a limb there, huh? But yeah, I went with him, and he was the highest finisher out of the other 3. So I pull ahead just by the slightest there. Everyone else is nipping on my heels with 4 races left to go, Josh. So this pick championship, that battle that all 4 of us are in, and I was looking at the drivers that we have left, and I think everybody has a top tier driver or 2 left. So I think this is really going to be interesting. This battle for the championship with our race picks with 4 rounds left to go.
Definitely. It would be really great if we all, if the other 3 of us, me, Michael, and our guest picker Joy could, win one of the next 3 races, and we get down to Nashville, and we have to, we all have to battle it out for that last one with the championship on the line. So we'll see. I was looking at my drivers. I still do have quite a few that could win me one, but it's going to be going down to the wire, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it is too, and I think you're absolutely right. Like I mentioned, I think all 4 of us have some top tier drivers left, or as they say, bullets in the chamber, so to say, with 4 races left to go. All right, before we close the page and close the book on Toronto and look forward to Laguna Seca and Monterey this weekend, obviously we have to do some thank yous, send some thank yous, and right now, huge thank you, as we always do, not only to the great sponsors, of the Push to Pass podcast. First and foremost, Always Ready 1776. For all of your patriotic apparel, headwear, and more, go check out Always Ready 1776 at alwaysready1776.com. If you do choose to find something there that you do want to purchase, make sure you use the promo code that you see up on the screen, Push to Pass, for 10% off of your order. Go check out all the items over at Always Ready 1776. And then locally, Gettum Associates. For all your home design and remodeling needs, remember, it's Gettum Associates. And you can find them on the web as well at gettum.com. And if you do browse their inventory, their catalog, and you do find something that you would like to put in your home or remodel or redesign in your home, make sure you use the promo code that you see down there at the bottom of your screen, Push to Pass, for $250 off any design service. Again, huge thank you both to Always Ready 1776 and Gettum Associates for being proud sponsors of the Push to Pass podcast. All right, getting back to the business at hand. I did send the link earlier, the invite to Mike to join us. If he does not step in, we'll just have to, as I mentioned earlier when we had technical difficulties with Josh, we'll just have to keep the show rolling. So now let's open up and preview, Josh, what the race upcoming this weekend. I know you've had some products from Java House, as I and Michael has as well, but a new sponsor, obviously, to the NTT INDYCAR Series, and it is the Java House Grand Prix of Monterey, or for you old school IndyCar fans out there, it is Laguna Seca. So like Josh mentioned earlier, out in California, so you know what the weather is going to be like there. And we will take a look at the weather in about 15 minutes or so with the official IndyCar weatherman of the Push to Pass podcast. But before we get to that, we do need to preview and take a look at what we have coming up this weekend at Laguna Seca. So let me pull up the track diagram, and then we'll get into some track facts as well. So that is what we're looking at here this weekend at Laguna Seca against WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. We're going to go 95 laps, 212.61 miles. That will make up the Java House Grand Prix of Monterey. WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is a challenging 2.238 mile road course. It does have 11 turns, and including the famous corkscrew with its 6-story drop in a mere 450 feet that was popularized by the Pass, originally constructed in 1957 in Monterey, California, when the Pebble Beach road races, and I don't know if I was around during that period, Josh, you might have been, but I was not, required a safer course. The track is known for hosting a variety of top-tier racing events, from sports cars to motorcycles to numerous community events as well. And also, set against a scenic backdrop, it attracts motorsports enthusiasts from all around the world and has become an iconic venue in the world of competitive racing. Tickets and VIP experiences and more are available if you go to the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca website. So, Josh, as I went through the track facts and the mileage and how many laps we're going to run here, well, we're not, but you know what I'm getting at. Anything that jumps out at you at this track layout there for the Java House Grand Prix of Monterey this weekend?
That turn 2 looks pretty treacherous. It looks like a pretty steep sharp turn. So that could spell danger or doom for those that want to try to get out early and on that first or second lap, and they get into that second turn and they're all bunched up, and all of a sudden somebody just goes flying because they've driven over another car, and and they go into the safer barrier. Hopefully none of that happens. I mean, we've seen it before, but turn 2 looks pretty treacherous. Hopefully, depending upon the weather, like you said, we're going to talk to Weatherman later on, hopefully, and he can give us a good bill of health on the weather, that nothing's going to affect this race. But it looks like an interesting track. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. We hope that everybody can get through the designated laps for Sunday, and there's not any major wrecks. It does remind me a little bit, when we watch beginning of the year at St. Pete, when everybody dives into turn number 1, and we're all hoping that everybody gets through unscathed. And then also too, when you think about the road course here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, when everybody's bunched up and they dive into that first turn, hopefully everybody gets through unscathed there as well. All right, looking at the schedule that we're going to have this weekend, let me pull that up on screen for everybody, and it should be right there. We're going to get things kicked off Friday, July 25th at 5 p.m. That's first practice. And then we'll go to bed and come up the next day around 11:30 a.m. Again, these are all Eastern Standard Times for practice number 2. And then later in the day, it will be NTT INDYCAR Series qualifying at 2:30. And then we'll have a warm-up on Sunday around noon. And then things are going to get kicked off with the Java House Grand Prix of Monterey around 3 p.m. So that is what our schedule looks like for the weekend. A couple more things to go over before we put a close on this. I know it seems like its hour has already flown by, but Josh, let's take a look at what a hot lap looks like around WeatherTech Raceway there in Laguna Seca.
On those short blasts, just double those short blast scores for now.
Gosh, that's what a lap looks like around WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Now that you got to see it in person, any other thing that or any other issues you see come up with that lap around there?
Just the being packed up, and these road/street courses always have those runoffs and here and there. So inevitably we're going to see a driver, either brush the safer barrier or get too wide and end up somewhere that they're not supposed to be. But hopefully everyone goes home safe and all the cars go home intact.
Yeah, definitely want that. Before we get into the past winners of the at Laguna Seca, we do have, as we mentioned, the official weatherman of the Push to Pass podcast joining us. And let me bring him up here. Sir, good evening, and we are definitely hoping for a great weather report that you have coming up for us here this weekend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is a pretty easy one from my perspective. Very straightforward coastal California forecast for this weekend. Easy part, pretty steady temperatures all 3 days, looking at morning temps in the low 50s. And then we should get into the mid 60s for the afternoon for the high. Winds pick up late afternoon each day, so might get a little breezy out there, but that's really more so for Friday's practice because of the start time. With qualifying and race both kind of scheduled in that midday slot, they may actually wind up avoiding the strongest gusts of each day. So really the only weather feature that might disrupt things is that coastal marine layer cloud deck. If the conditions are right, that low cloud cover can move inland pre-sunrise. And then the result of that is you get that really low cloud deck or low ceiling, as we would call it, and or some reduced visibility in some patchy fog. So all of that normally lifts out within a few hours of sunrise. So worst case, you might get a short delay with some of those earliest sessions on the schedule. And so primarily talking about Saturday's early practice 2, and then that Sunday warm-up session. But that's really it for potential impacts this weekend. So overall, it's possible delays in the morning, very mild temps throughout the day, and then some breezy conditions late afternoon.
It definitely sounds like a picture-perfect weekend there in Monterey. Definitely keeping our fingers crossed that everything pans out as it potentially should. But again, as I always reiterate, if something does happen to change for some odd particular reason, I know you'll be on top of things.
Yeah, you guys can check out my forecast updates on Twitter, Blue Sky, or Threads. And if you just do a search for IndyCar Weatherman, my forecast should pop right up.
All right, as I mentioned every week, good stuff as always. Definitely looking forward to having, again, like I mentioned, that picture perfect race weekend. Definitely crossing our fingers for it, but I think we're going to get some nice sunshine this weekend. So again, huge thank you for coming on, and we'll talk to you again here soon.
Yep, thanks a lot, guys. See you for the next preview. Have a good night.
Thanks, Weatherman.
Yep.
All right, Josh, definitely sound like good stuff is definitely coming this weekend in form of weather. So hopefully that sticks around. Like I said, if something does change, if the forecast does change for some odd particular reason between now and then, go check out the Weatherman and all of his social medias to get the changes for sure. All right. One last thing we have two things left before we get out of here. We do need to look at the past winners of this race. So, and then here they are in short order. There's not a lot of order here, or not a lot of winners, I guess I should say. Here you have Alex Palou last year in 2022, Scott Dixon in 2023, and then Colton Herta in 2021 and in 2019. So, Mike not being able to join us this evening, Josh, and this is the data in the past winners that we have to go off of for this race on Sunday. What is your betting gut here on Tuesday telling you?
Well, this early out, looking at that and only having 3 past winners and that not having a lot of, only 5 races of data. I'm looking at the odds that they have right now. Palou's at plus 140. So, I don't see him winning this race. I see him maybe a top 3 or a top 5. I know he wants to come back and make amends for what happened this past weekend. So I am looking, honestly, Kyle Kirkwood's at going off at 5-1. That's one that's sticking out to me. And then of course Colton Herta, who's a former winner of this race, is at 7-1. But probably my money is going to either go on Pato to finish top 3. For some reason, this shows that as Mike says, that the odds makers have no idea what they're talking about. They haven't been watching. They have Scott McLaughlin at 7-1, which is just crazy. He's not having a good season. I don't see him coming out and winning this. So I would say Palou top 3. Kirkwood would be if you got some money, go put down some money on Kirkwood to win, and also Pato top 3. And you could, if you're feeling adventurous, you could put Scott Dixon is currently at 9.5 to 1. And Scott Dixon is he's usually good for a win or two each year. I think he's got one, to my knowledge, he's got one year in. So there's a possibility that at 9 to 1 that'd be a really good value. Don't throw a lot on there, but anything that you throw on there and he wins would definitely make some money for you. So those are my picks. They may not be the best, they may not be the most accurate, but that's what my gut's telling me.
Yeah, you know what? You're giving it a shot. I think you've learned a lot from Mike this evening, and obviously, if our viewers, want to play a little more safer, then I know obviously when the betting odds do come out, probably later in the week, probably Thursday, Friday, and obviously, Mike will have his input on his social medias. Go check his out if you're looking for a little bit of a safer bet. All right, we analyzed and discussed Sunday's race. We've previewed the upcoming race for Monterey for everyone this weekend. I think we have one last thing to do here. I know I teased it earlier in the show, but the viewership numbers, Josh, for Toronto came out today. I don't know if you've seen them or not, so I'm going to put the tweet on the screen. Again, hat tip always to Adam Stern. It seems like he is one of the first individuals to get his hands on the information on the viewership numbers. So this is what he tweeted out or X'd out, or however you want to say that, earlier today. Fox Sports got 734,000 views for Sunday's NTT INDYCAR Series race in Toronto. That is up. That's good news. From 504,000 the last time it aired on linear TV, and that's back in 2019 on now the NBCSN. It's the most watched edition of the Toronto race since ABC got 1.29 million in 2012. So, Josh, what do you make of the viewership numbers this weekend?
Oh, they were good. I'm glad to see that they were where they were. Always good to see a high number. Hopefully this next weekend we can get even higher numbers. Top Monterey from last year. I think overall, Fox has done a really good job of broadcasting and putting the races out. Will Buxton is always a fantastic announcer. He may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I enjoy it. He brings excitement and great analyzation to the races. So he was a good pickup by Fox.
Yeah, definitely agree with that, Josh. And with that being said, I think that wraps it up for another episode of the Push to Pass podcast. Again, a huge thank you to everyone that tuned in on all three platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Also, a huge thank you to Weatherman for joining us, as he always does every Tuesday night. And then last but certainly not least, a huge thank you to Josh to join us as he does on a weekly basis as well. So pay attention to our social media accounts, as we'll be covering from afar the race this weekend. So definitely go check that out. And then we'll be back in 1 week's time to discuss and analyze. Hopefully Michael's back off the mend and being able to join us for that. So like I said, we'll be back in 1 week's time to discuss and analyze what took place in Monterey, California at the Java House Grand Prix of Monterey. So for myself and Josh and everyone else that makes up the Push to Pass podcast, we will see you in 1 week's time. Until then, so long, everybody.